Hello and welcome. I am Obed Jerry and this is the CIA Corner where we bring to you top trending commentaries, investigations and in-depth analysis on topical issues making rounds on the papers, Nigerian stories, local stories and even international stories here on TAF TV. And yes, you out there can also be a part of the show. Please engage with us in our comment section. If you have anything to add to what is being discussed here, do not hesitate to drop your comments in the comment section. Connect with us across all our social media platforms so that won't drop notifications like this, you get to receive it. Well, today, like we've been doing, discuss different topical issues. And now let's look into this Lagos-Calabar coastal highway that is being built by the federal government, and it's crossing from Lagos towards the Calabar highway. And people of Nigeria, like the Lagos residents, are complaining around the Aja-Oku axis that their houses are being marked for demolition without adequate compensation. That is a very wrong one to do for the federal government. Now let's go for a very quick break. When we come back, we look into the story properly. Stay tuned. Alright, welcome back from that very quick break, and lest I forget, a happy new week to you out there. Now, we could see there's a saying that for every development to come towards an environment, some level of destruction must happen. But in a democratic country like Nigeria, for every destruction that wants to commence, the destruction for construction, there must be adequate compensation, okay? Now, in the Lagos-Calabar coastal highway that is being built, a project by the federal government, it has been running for a very long time now, and they've been demolishing marked houses that are companies, organizations that are along that way that is obstructing the project. And we've been hearing that there have been adequate compensations. Now there's an angle around the Lagos state, the Aja-Oku axis, where persons bought land. Some persons are from that community. They are residential. They are residents of this community, and then some are complaining. They've been lamenting for a time now that some of their houses were not dictated to be on government's land, was not dictated to be on the land in which things will be constructed as at 2006. But we know how how evolution happens. We know how evolutions happen as new government comes in. Maybe they try to restructure their projecting and how the geographical location ought to be. Now, new governments came in power, and during this Tinubu's regime, we could see they are marking some areas around the Aja-Oku axis. Almost 2,000 homes are found along that line to be demolished. Now, these persons have been crying since the month of March, saying that some of them do not have where to go. Some of them just acquired this land. Some of them just started making their lives, and we know how hard the country is. We know how hard the economy is at this time. They are saying that most of them have not been told anything as regards compensation. Okay, the federal government sent persons to mark their buildings, inform them, okay, within the period of this time, you have to move out from this environment because this place falls under the project of the Lagos-Calabar coastal highway. But when the issue about the compensation comes up, most times they try to deviate from that discussion and telling them that, okay, the federal government will discuss that with you. But then some resident, like a resident in that community, was saying that the time when he had to interact with one of these persons sent from the federal government about this construction to inform them that their houses were marked for demolition because they are on the project that they are to conduct on that Lagos-Calabar coastal highway. Okay, they inform them, this your houses, this environment is marked and is to be demolished. So you have from this time to evacuate the buildings so that you don't get affected by it. Okay, they accepted this and was now bringing up the issue of compensation. He said that, according to him, when they were telling the demolishers about the compensation issue, they were trying to deviate from the topic and trying to talk every other thing like, okay, the federal government will come and see to it. And it got to an extent that they got to a heated argument, to the extent that they were telling these residents that besides this your house, they are not supposed to compensate you because you are staying on the federal government's land. Some of them were saying that these lands they inherited it from their great grandfathers. They inherited, some of them were born in that land and they've been living there for ages. Their family families have lived there for over 100 years. Why some were saying that they purchased this land not even up to 2 years, and they did C of O for that land. They went to the due process of acquiring a land for land acquisition. They got the papers, got involved in the community, and everybody knew that they acquired this land, so they are due for compensation. So I wonder why they will be complaining of such a thing, that the federal government does not want to compensate them for this land. It is not a little thing to run into such losses at this time, where we know how the hardship is thriving in Nigeria and how things are going. We know that the Lagos-Calabar coastal highway is a good start for development in the country, as even as vast as the Lagos State is at the moment. We know the Calabar-Lagos coastal highway would help a lot in easing transportation, easing huge traffic jam in that area. But these persons that own this land need to be put into adequate consideration. These people are the reason why you are doing this road, you are doing this construction. These people should also be put to heart. They should be considered also. Okay, look into measures to compensate them, or look for lands that the federal government own and at least compensate them with that. Maybe give them lands to build on, or give them, okay, know the amounts that they use in acquiring this land, amount that they use in building these houses, and maybe compensate them adequately so that they do not feel the losses that they've run into. Imagine someone battling with the hardship, someone battling to survive, someone battling to raise their family, and then you are trying to deprive them of a home, shelter that is their fundamental human right. It would worsen their problems, and most persons will run into depression and even want to commit suicide. We've heard several times when some houses, some persons will be given as little as quit notice, and they do not have anywhere to run to, and they will end up jumping into the Lagos Lagoon. These issues have been thriving before now, not to talk of when you are telling somebody to evacuate their own full building that they've lived all their lives with their family and their children, and you're telling them that they would not be compensated adequately. It doesn't work that way. Instead of these persons to be deprived of their rights, then the road, I think the road should be channeled to another direction. The federal government owns land in different angles of the country, no doubt. Then why not compensate them with these lands, or compensate them financially as it is due to what has been demolished from them? It is a sad one for people of residents of a community. Some are indigenes of that even community coming out to complain that the federal government, the state government should please look into this issue, that they are being deprived of shelter that is a fundamental human right to every human, every bona fide citizen of the country. Well, we are urging the federal government to help us help every Nigerian at large, because we've seen times when some places we've seen times when most persons will end up being displaced in different environment that they live, and sometimes this would even lead them into going into illicit acts like stealing, robbing and killing, because they do not have anything to fall back to. Some of these persons, these businesses, these house owners, these are their own source of income. This is where they gain their rents and leases that they make. Imagine now depriving them of this thing. How would they start from afresh? So we urge the federal government to help us look into this issue, compensate those that are worth the compensation adequately. And then some persons that if it is land that was collected from them, there are lands that the federal government own, please award them different land so that they can start up their life again without feeling the heat of the Lagos-Calabar coastal way that has been constructed. Well, this is where we draw our curtains for today, and you've heard everything that is being discussed here. If you have anything to add to it, please drop your comments in the comment section. My name is Obed Jerry, your co-host for today. I'll see you next time.